Hey, everybody. Thank you very, very much for joining us once again for another Webinar Wednesday. And I'm pleased and I'm blessed and I'm honored to have Alex from Bindwise.com, Bindwise, Bindwise.com. And what they do better than, I think, than anybody else is obtain data for Amazon sellers, because they do it getting it right from the source. They hook right into Amazon's system rather than scraping, rather than getting old information. And that's what I want to talk to you about today, how Amazon sellers can best get the information they need to increase sales, increase profits, avoid suspension, stay on top of their accounts. And that's what we're going to get into today. So Alex, if you can, introduce yourself, give a brief outline of what Bindwise does, how you ended up in this crazy space that we're in. And then we're going to get right into the slides and right into the information for sellers.
Thanks, AJ. I'm glad to be here. Yeah, I'm a co-founder of Bindwise, and we are doing tools for Amazon sellers. Basically, our solution helps sellers to get a timely notification about the things that Amazon doesn't disclose to you. That's I give you some examples. Suspension of products, that's a really important issue. Changes in metrics like a violation of Amazon policies. If you, as a seller, violate Amazon, unnoticeably violate Amazon sellers, we're going to tell you about that. There are also different aspects like feedback management, and hijackers, a really hot topic for private sellers.
I was waiting for you to say that. Hijackers, changes to detail pages. I mean, just vital information. Now, Tell our listeners how you have that information faster than might be even on their own dashboard.
So the way how we work with sellers is through the so-called MWS. That's the only official means which Amazon provides to sellers in order to work with third-party integrators or third-party software companies as ours. You basically obtain it through your Seller Central, and you connect easily with 1 minute setup, and voila, we are connected with your seller account directly through this official means of Amazon. Because because I'll tell you what, the other vendors, the main difference that the other vendors, what they do a scraping, which is totally prohibited. It puts, as a first major thing, it puts a seller account at the risk of suspension. That's the really big issue. What actually Amazon sellers are not really accurate or careful when they start using some software solutions. So here we're trying, and we are actually 100% compliant with all Amazon terms of service.
Let me boil it down, okay? Sure. There are a lot of services out there that are great, a lot of that aren't so great, but they get their data by scraping Amazon, which is against your agreement, okay? Most people don't know it. Most sellers don't know the name of the agreement that governs your relationship with Amazon. It's called the Business Solutions Agreement. The Business Solutions Agreement, we call it the BSA, and it's hidden behind the definitions section. So if you Google Business Solutions Agreement in Amazon, then every seller can actually see what your contract is with Amazon. And that's the contract we fight over every day in the arbitrations. So the Business Solutions Agreement. And it prohibits Amazon sellers from having data scraped. Now, we haven't really seen them enforce it. Like I can't remember a suspension that was based upon scraping, but it's definitely been added to cases as they progressed in arbitrations. So what Bindwise does is they link in through the permissible way that Amazon provides data, and they get it faster than sometimes even on the seller's dashboard. I think that's huge. Also, my firm as a service, since we do so many plans of action and deal with so many intellectual property right complaints, have been asked, can we monitor people's accounts? And our answer has been no, because we found that all the monitoring was mostly BS because it was late information. If you're getting like some kind of report on a weekly or bi-weekly or even a daily basis, all you're getting is someone looking at your performance notifications after you already have them. And so what Alex's company is able to do is to link up directly with Amazon and get it firsthand. And sometimes they get it even faster than your performance notifications show up. And I think that's something that's really, really special about Bindwise. They get the data first. okay? So Alex, let me go to your slideshow, okay? And I tend to jump around, and I'm gonna apologize right now. I'm gonna apologize in advance for interrupting you. Also, for our viewers, I'm gonna apologize. This is the first time we're recording a webinar in advance. Usually I just go live, but I wanted to get it in advance, figure out how to use the system. So if it's a little hokey, I want to apologize now. We're going to try and go to the slideshow right now, and then we'll take it from there. All right, now, what I'm hoping is that you are all now looking at Alex's PowerPoint, the changing Amazon seller. Alex, is that what you're seeing on your screen?
Exactly.
All right. What do you mean by the changing Amazon seller?
The thing is that Amazon is changing rapidly, and sellers are left with no choice but to catch up, actually. Over like 100,000 new sellers join Amazon Marketplace every single month. But it is not actually only international sellers joining Amazon.com. Also, domestic US sellers are joining international marketplaces too. And gone are the days and uncertainties of selling and expanding internationally. Sellers who own brands are taking them to all Amazon marketplaces, especially those in Europe. The Amazon marketplace is global, both in terms of participants and the market it reaches. And thus, in retail, it was never this easy to sell internationally, but also the competition was never as fierce as this actually today.
I got to tell you something. I agree with you 100%. Because sellers are joining. There's somewhere around maybe a bit over 5 million sellers. The competition is increasing globally. The competition from Chinese factories and Chinese sellers is increasing exponentially because Amazon is actively going to Chinese factories and the Chinese middlemen and getting them to sell directly on Amazon to cut costs for consumers. Also, on the flip side of that, I think Amazon sellers need to know where to go. And so I got to tell you something, we are promoting extensively that Amazon sellers should get into Australia because that still is a relatively small market with limited competition. Amazon sellers should get into Japan, which is now either the #3 largest market or just about #3. So you should clearly be in .com in the States. You should clearly be in the UK, 100% in Germany. Australia is a huge plan for the future. I also think you got to get into Japan. I mean, it's just a tremendous, tremendous market. So I think that's what, when you talk about Amazon is evolving rapidly, that's where you're going. You got higher competition and more international sales.
Exactly. I wanted to add that a month ago, actually, Amazon expanded to Turkey, which is a new marketplace they entered like just a couple of weeks ago. That's also a huge market with, I guess, 80 million of potential customers. It is as big as Germany. And we know that in Europe, Germany is the first marketplace, even greater than the UK. So I guess how many marketplaces? I guess it's 18 marketplaces around the globe now. Amazon is expanding 18 countries.
I think you're right, and it's also, you also have Amazon India starting to gain traction. Also, if you look at India, the number of consumers, right? The population is just tremendous. But you also have some terrible poverty there. You have an incredibly growing middle class, and you also have probably more millionaires in India than in the United States, just based upon population. So if like 2% are millionaires, it's an enormous, enormous number. So this is part of the evolution of Amazon, the evolution of Amazon sellers. And the slide we have on the screen right now, I think you guys are looking at it, you know, brick and mortar in the 1990s, online retailers in the 2010s, right? And now streamlining online retail. Streamlining is vital. And that means getting your data. I mean, it's 100% getting
Exactly. But coming back to the previous slide, what happened actually 8 years ago? 8 years ago, like everything has started to change drastically. Unhappy with lower margins and relentless competition, sellers started to look for ways to differentiate. The solution for most of them was obvious: sell products without competition, which means sell products your own, right? The realization,
100% brand development. used to be the wave of the future. Now it's the wave of the now. So sellers out there, I strongly suggest you start getting into private label, at least exploring it. And if you're a private label seller, you need to monitor for hijackers and people taking over your detail page and Amazon getting into your product. So this is absolutely the wave. And also as Amazon's become more and more brand centric, sellers need to be aware of this. You need to protect yourself, protect your livelihood.
Exactly. So that's what happened actually 8 years ago. And let's remember what happened 2 years ago when Amazon made significant changes both with policies and their platform. The first thing actually what comes to my mind is, when Amazon a year ago, they toughened their review policy. Basically, Amazon clamped down on biased reviews and made the process of obtaining product reviews more complicated, right? As I read, by the way, in recent Amazon press release, actually starting from this morning, 1st of October, they introduced changes to seller performance metrics and yet another new changes, which again toughen seller performance metrics. I guess there was a free.
Let me go back to the reviews. Let's go back to the reviews, and we'll get back to the slides and get back on point. Amazon over the last month or 2 months or so has been just taking all the reviews down. Unverified, verified reviews, people losing hundreds and thousands of reviews. We're starting to see those reviews come back. We had looked for sellers that had 100% clean accounts, and we weren't able to find that many sellers because we wanted to take Amazon to arbitration and get an order compelling them to reinstate the reviews. But a lot of sellers were very, very nervous, and we don't ever want to cause harm. We're very, very conservative. But now the reviews are coming back. So if you've lost hundreds or thousands of reviews, we're seeing the reviews coming back online now, which is really kind of cool. All right, let's get back on point here. So me and you can talk all day long about the ever-changing, it's like doing business on a waterbed floating in a lake, okay? All right, so we got your slideshow back, okay?
Yeah, almost there.
There?
Yes.
All right,
exactly.
Let's go on. So we know we changed. We know this is an ever-changing environment. We know there's tremendous opportunity. We know sellers are killing it right now, are going to continue to kill it, but you need information. Information is key. It used to be the #1 business rule was cash is king. Now it's information is king. Okay, so tell me, why do you have a slide about Hewlett-Packard and their mice?
No, actually, yeah, it's a good point. I just wanted to mention that Amazon advertising now dominates search result pages, the first pages. They made a big push on their advertising platform, forcing more and more actually sellers to use ads in order to show up on the first page in the search results. The first page now is totally flooded with paid advertising, pushing like sellers' products lower down and less likely to be purchased, because if you don't use it, if you don't use advertising, you're just pushed down. So Amazon is increasingly turning over the real estate on search result pages to brand promotion, sponsored ads, Amazon own brand products, and Amazon choice. And if you as a seller, you don't use that option, you don't own these advertising slots, then you're way down the first page on the search result at best. And
what does this have to do? Tell me about Hewlett-Packard. Why does Hewlett-Packard have this great page? Is this the advertising?
Yeah, actually, it's I think it's even not a Hewlett-Packard itself who's doing advertising. It is actually official distributors of that brand on Amazon who are paying for advertising.
So this is an example. This is an example of how the platform is shifting again towards paid advertising, but went the wrong way here.
No, right, correct. So also, yeah, Amazon, hey, just a second.
Oh.
Yeah, so Amazon signaled the end of the brand website era, as the consumers armed with search no longer need to defer to the brand websites. 55%, as we can see, of people searching for a product start on Amazon. And the result is that we have the retailer worth more than Walmart, Target, Macy's, Kroger, Nordstrom, Tiffany & Co., Tesco, IKEA, and The Gap combined together. Additionally, Amazon is growing 20% plus each year, attacking multi-billion-dollar businesses. They are becoming...
It's even affecting if you walk into a brick and mortar store. You know, it was on the weekend, I was in a rush, I needed something, I ran to my local Staples, which is a pain in the neck. So I drove the 20 minutes, I parked, I grabbed my boy, we went inside Staples, and before I bought something, right there in the store, I went on my phone, I checked, I Googled it, and Amazon came up with not just the pricing, but the reviews. You know, so people were using Amazon as a search engine just to make sure they got price matching. But now when I'm comparing, like, it was, I think it was 2 different cameras, I wanted to look at the reviews. And, you know, I'm a pretty savvy guy, but I went straight to Amazon. That even when I was standing there in the Staples, I beat them up on the price with Amazon, and I decided which camera to get from Amazon.
Yeah, so for our today's audience, adapting to the ever-changing selling on Amazon will likely result in a highly positive future, you know. We can go to the next slide. And we all remember this fantastic stat published last year on Marketplace Post stating that 700,000 new sellers appear in a year and less than 10% are selling today. You know, this is a mass extinction among Amazon sellers. In 2007, actually, average life expectancy from a seller on Amazon was 5 years. Today, it's just above the 3. And, you know, the lesson from this is that while joining Amazon is easy, while running basic Amazon store is easy, turning it into a long-term, highly profitable business is not. And hence, with this crowded space, making your actually store stand out is crucial.
I agree 100%. And that's why I think sellers have to increasingly up their game, increasingly get the tools like Bindwise and some other great vendors out there. But you need to make sure if you're selling, you continue to improve, and that if you're starting to sell, you get in on the right foot to make sure. I love this slide. I love the million.
Yeah, the good news. But the good news.
before we get here, okay? In fact, I'm going to take this down for a second, okay? Before we get to the number of Amazon millionaire sellers out there, I want everyone to know selling on Amazon, it's not a get-rich-quick scheme. You have to work really hard, identify products, make your metrics great. I mean, consumer-oriented, follow the rules, okay? So I don't think just by using Bindwise, you're going to become a millionaire. By calling me, you're not going to become a millionaire. It's a lot of hard work, and you got to continuously make yourself better and better and better because the platform demands that, okay?
Do you agree that it's a particular mindset the sellers have to step into to actually, it's a totally different mindset to work on over these small details what you were talking about, right?
Yeah, so what I've seen, the successful sellers are the ones who are logged in 7 days a week on top of their accounts, okay, who are really into it, the true 100% entrepreneurial spirit, and those are the people that do well, okay? But yes, in 2017, 20,000 Amazon millionaire sellers, okay?
Yeah, but actually there is even a better news that previously, I guess it was a year ago, Amazon mentioned the number of sellers with more than $100,000 sales in a year, a figure which has grown from 70,000 in 2015 to double of that, so to 140,000 last year, which is already some let's say easier milestone to approach. 1,000.
Yeah. And that's nothing to sneeze at. $100,000 in sales is nothing to sneeze at. Okay, that's a great thing. So Alex, talk about the common thread among successful Amazon sellers.
Yeah, so we already know that the rate of change of selling on Amazon has accelerated in the past couple of years, growing competition, international participation, Prime membership. So yeah, 5 years ago, top sellers resorted to drastic change. Unhappy with low margins and relentless competition, sellers started to look for ways to differentiate, actually. The solution for them was obvious. In the end, one of the biggest change is in mindset, is the increasing sophistication in operations. That's what really makes a difference. That's what characterizes a highly optimized merchant aim to maximize revenues, right?
I
You
agree with
have to
you.
change your mindset and optimize details and really look at small issues and solve them quick. And to do so, you have to automate things.
I agree. I agree. Amazon sellers have to be better and faster, and they have to have the information. Now, I want to address something right here. It just came up. So Alex and I met in person a couple of weeks ago. He came from New York City out to my office in Long Beach. He met our entire team. I gave him the tour of our office space and our collaborative work environments. And Alex asked me, he's like, hey, would you want to sort of white shoe what we do here and do it that way? And I said, absolutely not. What my team does for sellers around the world is analyze your accounts, write killer plans of action, deal with IP complaints, and fight Amazon when they're screwing you over and take them to arbitrations. And that's what we do. What I suggest, if you're interested in this type of service, go right to the source. Go right to Alex at Bindwise and get the data. He's getting it directly from Amazon through the MWS system, and he can go direct to you. So my answer was, listen, I am not an expert in data. You are. So I want people that listen to us, that trust me to really tell them the truth, that if you're interested in this, go straight to Alex at Bindwise. Just like he gets the information directly from Amazon's interface, you can get the information directly from Alex. And I think that's vital. You don't need someone else scraping. You don't need the whatever reports coming in that give you old data. If you want the data directly, contact Alex and talk to him and see what Bindwise can provide for you to help you make more money and be a better seller. And I think that's the key. The key is people focusing on what their strengths are. My strength and my team's strengths are plans of action, intellectual property, and private label branding and brand protection. Alex's forte is getting you the data you need, the reports.
Yeah, so focusing on automatic management of listings and seller accounts introduces some benefits. With it, you can free up your time by eliminating manual or daily, weekly checkings of the quality of your listing.
Oh my God, tell them how frequently you notify them, which I think sellers need, okay? How quickly do they get notified of changes on their listings or problems with their account?
As it happens right away, when something is blocked, when the hijacker jumps on the listing, when a negative feedback received, when a policy violation is done, we are right at that time, we are notifying this issue. So the seller has time to actually react before it receives this ill-fated letter from Amazon.
Okay, so if you are paying for a weekly report or a monthly report, stop, okay? Stop and contact Alex at Bindwise because it's instantaneous. It is in real time. They're getting the data down, sometimes faster than even seeing your dashboard, and they're sending it over to you. So let me get the screen share going again.
Yeah,
okay.
Let me give you
the garlic press example.
Yeah, let me give you some concrete use cases. So if you're a private label seller, hijackers are typically your number one headache. There are two different types of hijacking. When another seller creates a variation to a parent private label listing, this is most likely counterfeit. And the second type of hijacking is when a piggybacker jumps on a listing instead of creating a variation. Our internal research actually here at Bindwise shows that 80% of hijacking cases are of the latter type. So piggybackers are just jumping on a listing without creating a variation.
So these are hijack. Tell me this, the red and white screenshot that we have here with the garlic press, okay? I see it. The first one is at 10:41 p.m. What is that notification? What is that a picture of?
So basically, we send a alert to you, to your email address, the moment when the hijacker, we see the fake Acme, jumps on your listing, and we are reporting. There are more details in that alert. I just excluded them. But that's the main thing. We are also using a color coding, which helps to analyze lots of emails really fast. For example, you can receive a sequence of 10 and 15 emails, and with color coding, either green when everything is good or red when everything is bad, we're actually trying to show you importance. If you also go back to the previous slide for a second, we can see that the second threat is ASIN suspension, which happens, by the way, approximately 10 times more frequently actually than a seller account suspensions. Really important topic for merchants. As you know, product listings...
Let me interrupt you for a second. Okay. Sure. So I agree with Alex. We haven't crunched the numbers, but people certainly lose, sellers certainly lose their ASINs more often than they lose their accounts.
10 times.
It's vital. It's not as bad as your entire account going down, but it's absolutely vital for your healthy business to keep all your ASINs up, or certainly your best-selling ASINs. So when that happens, once you get that notification, you know, listen, I better start working on my plan of action, or I better call CJ's team in New York. I better get my invoices in order. I better start putting my ducks in a row so I get that plan of action out as soon as you get that email. And while I hate to add stress, you will know about it as it happens. And so the faster you know about it, the faster you get your plan of action and your invoices in order, and the faster you get it submitted, and the faster you get reinstated. I mean, that's the name of the game. You know, that's why we now have the ability to work almost 24 hours a day to draft plans of action, get them out the door. We took a member of our team from New York and we shipped them over to Melbourne, Australia. So while everything is reviewed and written in New York, we took one of our New Yorkers and sent them to a different time zone so we could just cover the clock. So this is vital. You get the information faster because you may not always be on your dashboard, and boom, it's right there on your phone and your email that your listing is blocked for this particular product. So this to me is a huge, huge benefit of Bindwise. Huge. Much better than any report you're going to get from any vendor out there, because you're going to get this right away, electronically submitted from Amazon to Bindwise, and bangs it out to you.
Exactly, and as you mentioned, smaller merchants actually with just a few ASINs, they notice quickly when any ASIN is blocked. However, for professional, bigger merchants, it is unacceptable to leave listings suspended for a couple of days, weeks, or even a month if they haven't noticed that. The problem is that Amazon doesn't tell to sellers that their ASINs are blocked. So yeah, so at Bindwise, we are closing this gap by letting you.
All right, let's talk about some of the specifics. So we have this vegetable peeler where there was a change in the images, right?
Yes, that's another example when a rival seller changes a listing title or any other actually listing field maliciously or by accident maybe. For instance, to include the name of a banned ingredient, even if the product doesn't have it, or silently adds pack of 5. In this case, everyone of that listing is heard because they still send one vegetable peeler instead of the 5 in the pack, and they don't know that already title announces and markets a pack. You know, this is really common.
This is super common. This is more common than sellers would really realize. I mean, the level of competition has increased, which means the level of animosity has increased, which means a lot of the dirty games have increased. So you can have a competitor changing your listing to like a 5-pack, you're selling it as 1, right? So that his listing goes further up the food chain and you draw complaints. You have people changing the images, not only better images so that they can deliver their product with probably their logo, but also denigrating listings. So you need to know when your listing changes, because this is how the game is increasing. I mean, everyone is upping their game as Amazon becomes larger and larger and the competition becomes, you know, more and more fierce. So this is something sellers, you need to know about this stuff. So you need to act. All right, I'm going to move on to the next slide.
Sure. Another important aspect.
Here we go. Yeah. Negative feedback. Okay, reviews, metrics. You get notices, right? I mean,
yeah, that's an important aspect, is actually keeping healthy your seller account metrics like reviews or policy violation statuses. So receiving this kind of notifications, which timely notifies you about your violation before you receive ill-fated suspension email from Amazon is much more effective, as you have time actually to react without putting much stress on Amazon,
Well, let's talk about the stress for a second, okay? So not only can this be sent to your email address as the owner of the account, you can also have the email sent to your staff, right, Alex? So we're not going to just cause heart attacks solely on the account owners, right? They could also have this to their team behind them to get these notifications when a negative feedback comes in. You don't have to stop your dinner immediately, go have a heart attack and stress out. You could have the email sent to your team, and just allows you to keep better track of your account. All right. So I don't want Alex to cause any heart attacks out there, because we know how stressful it can be. Like, oh my God, I got a negative review. But you certainly need to know about it. Okay. If your response rate slows down, your metrics have changed, you need to know about it. But I don't want anyone having a heart attack when they go out to dinner with their wife or their husband. Okay. But you need. Now, what's this 1,000+ monthly users? What is this slide?
Yeah, we offer timely notifications to a lot of sellers, and our main point is that Amazon doesn't disclose these crucial events to merchants, so lots of professional merchants trust us. As I said, we've been in the market for more than 3 years already, and majority of our customers are sellers who do $50,000 sales per month. But that just emphasizes that the idea, and shows to the smaller merchants how important is the aspect actually of automating listing and seller account management.
All right,
so,
let's go into the logistics. So finding Bindwise in Amazon Seller Central. This is a huge, when I saw this, I was super impressed. Alex, why don't you tell our listeners what this is, finding Bindwise in Seller Central?
Yes, we've been really excited about that. We've been tightly working with Amazon for the last 4 years, and now the quality of integration, the quality of service that we are offering to our merchants, Amazon find it really high. So they actually, a couple weeks ago, they have listed our solution on Seller Central. I guess you can find the link in the description, or just Google for Bindwise.
Yeah, I got to tell you something. I think that's a huge endorsement. That if you are there, you're within Amazon's system, they recognize it. I think that also lowers exponentially the risk of Bindwise causing any problems. I've turned down a lot of webinars where I was concerned that the guest product was not up to par. I was putting sellers' accounts at risk. And there's nothing that I want to participate in that would cause any suspensions. So when Alex showed me this, I was super impressed. I think it's really cool they were able to get this, that they're actually on the dashboard. All right, I'm going to move on to the next slide.
No, actually, that's the last slide. That's actually.
Right. Okay, so Alex, then what would you like our listeners to know, and how can they contact you? And as we get to the end of this webinar, which I think is really cool, what should sellers know?
Well, the main point is how actually a seller and merchants that are using, well, basically how in my humble opinion, what is the best option? The best option for a seller, the most reliable actually, is to do a tracking, to do an automatic monitoring of any business of any important business aspect. And when something bad is happened, you can timely contact a CJ's firm, and that's basically how it should work. You get it right into the when it happens, because Amazon doesn't tell you about that, and then you can just contact CJ, and his team will actually help you further. That's the work how I see it should work, actually.
I think that's really cool. Okay, I appreciate it. That as soon as they see they've lost a listing, as soon as they see they've lost their account, or they have an IP complaint or something changes, to contact us. Because believe me, I also agree, we are the #1 company, law firm or otherwise, in the world at analyzing accounts, picking apart the issues, and writing persuasive plans of action. With that said, I also want to let sellers know that we're also happy to help sellers help themselves, okay? We have more content on our website, amazonsellerslawyer.com, than I think exists anywhere on any website at all. I think we're up to like 2,000 pages of content. And we're also happy to speak with sellers. So while, yeah, listen, I want you to hire us, okay? I know we can do a better job than anybody. But if you want to write your own plan of action, we're also here to help you out, which is really cool. What I want to promote now just two things, okay? One, I want you to contact Alex and listen to what they have to say and check out their website and talk to him and see if it's a good fit for you to get immediate notifications of problems. I think it's huge, and I want you to get it directly from Alex and Bindwise. Number two, I don't want to engage in self-promotion right now. What I want everybody listening to do is, if you're shopping on Amazon, I want you to use the Amazon Smiles program, okay? Amazon Smiles program, if you're a consumer buying on Amazon and you go through Amazon Smiles, you then can pick a charity. Okay, my charity is the Ty Lewis Campbell Foundation. Ty is T-Y, Ty Lewis Campbell Foundation. And Ty was diagnosed with brain cancer at 3. He passed away at 5, a little before his 5th birthday. And it was an awful, awful fight. The treatment was awful. The fact that they couldn't save him was awful. And his dad, Lou, and his mom, Cindy, created this foundation. And all they do is raise money to find better treatments and God willing, a cure for pediatric cancers. So it costs you nothing. I mean, it costs you absolutely nothing, but those little bits that Amazon kicks in add up. So please, if you've learned anything here, please shop through Amazon Smiles and please pick the Ty Lewis Campbell Foundation. So thank you very, very much, Alex, for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you for providing information directly to Amazon sellers that may stress them out, but it'll help them react faster to get their plans of action in faster, which will get their reinstatements in faster. And thanks for coming on. I mean, I've learned a lot and absolutely terrific. Thank you so much.
Thank you, CJ. See you next time.